So this is the lecture 2 of real-time operating systems. We are going to discuss about process and threads in this video. We'll be discussing what is a process and what is a thread, and various characteristics of these two we'll be discussing in this video. Okay. So if you are seeing the channel for the first time, please do subscribe to the channel for subject videos and recruitment updates. So what is a process? Process is actually a program in execution. First you write a program, and then when you run the program, it will be converted to a process. So you can think program as a passive entity and process is the active entity. Okay. So you are going to run a program which is a passive element or entity, and it get converted to a active form which is a process. So here you can see this is the memory allocation, and there are various processes which is occupying the various memory locations, and these are the 4 program counters, and this is the diagram or the graph which is showing the execution of various processes. Okay, so if the system is a multitasking system, there will be various processes. Okay, now let us see the two terms associated with a process, which are process creation and process termination. Okay, first we are going to discuss about process creation. Now here we are going to discuss how all are a process getting created. Okay, that is what are the various types in which a process is getting created. So the first thing is user request for process creation. This is the first method in which you can create a process. That is when a user is requesting for a process, that is for creating a process. Next one, system initialization. Third one, batch job initialization. Then execution of a process creation system call by running a process. So the system call which is used for creating a process is called fork. Okay, fork is a function which is used for creating a process. The creation of process is called, that is when a process is creating another process. Okay, so these are the various methods by which a process is actually getting created. Either a user will be requesting for creating a process, that is he will be writing a code for creating a process, or by system initialization, or by job initialization, or a running process is creating another process. Okay. Now, when a process is creating another process, the function call that is used is fork. Okay. And the process which is creating another process is called parent process, and the process which is getting created is called child process. Consider that one process is creating another process. The process which is creating the other process which is called a parent process, and the process which is getting created is called child process. Okay, and another important factor here is a parent can have multiple children. There is a particular process can create multiple processes, but a child can have only one parent. That is the general scenario. Okay, so these are the various ways in which a process is getting created, and also we have seen here what is a parent process and what is a child process. Okay, and also whenever a parent is creating a child, they will be having a same memory image, and also they'll be sharing the environment strings and files. Okay, so there is actually a sharing happening between the parent and the child. Next, let us discuss about the process termination. So the process termination, that is how all are a process is getting terminated. What are the various methods, or what are the various causes which will cause the termination of a process. So a process may get terminated after its execution. Consider that a process is defined for this particular time period, and after that time period, when the process is getting completed, automatically it will get terminated. And when it is getting terminated, it will leave the processor, and also it will free all the resources which it was using. Okay, next, just now we have discussed what is a parent process and what is a child process. Now here a child process will get automatically terminated if a parent is getting terminated. Okay, so this process is called abortion, aborting a process. Okay, Next, a process can be terminated if it tried to use a resource that it is not allowed to. Okay, consider that a process is trying to write to a read-only file. So this is actually a error case. Okay, so in that case, what will happen? The process which is trying to write to a read-only file will get automatically terminated. Okay, and also there are various reasons in which IO failure occurs. In this case also a process can get terminated. And if a parent tries to terminate a child, then again this is another way a process may get terminated. So if a process requires more memory, and another way or another reason for termination of a process is if a process is requiring more memory than currently available system memory, means again there is a chance for the process getting terminated. Okay, so these are the various ways in which process termination can occur. And also the process termination occurs by using the system called exit. Okay, in order to terminate a process, you can use a system called exit. So we have discussed two system calls. One is for creation, one is for termination. For creation, you can use a system called fork. Then for termination, exit. Okay, so these are the various ways in which process termination can happen. Either a parent is terminating the child, or if a parent is getting terminated, automatically child will also get terminated. Or if a process is completed, naturally it will get terminated. Or if it is doing something which is not, there is an error case, that is trying to write to a file which is a read-only file. So that is an error case. In this case also the process will get terminated. Or if it is demanding more memory which is greater than the current system memory, here also there is a chance for the process to get terminated. Okay, so these are the various ways in which the process can get terminated. Next, we are going to discuss about the process control block. So when a process is getting created, it will be also having a register which is called process control block. This is actually a block. For every process, there is a process control block. And in this process control block, the various parameters of the process are getting stored. First one is pointer. So in order to point to this process, you can make use of this pointer in the process control block. Then process state. We'll also discuss, nextly we are going to discuss about the various states of a process. So currently at which state the process is, that is getting updated in this field. So these are the various fields of the process. Okay, and that total structure is called process control block, and every process is having a structure like this which is called process control block. Next, program counter, and also above that there is a process number, then the registers that this process is using, then memory limit, open file list, then accounting and status data. Okay, so these are the various fields in the process control block, and this process control block is used to control the process, and also it is having a pointer which is used for pointing to the process. Okay, next let us discuss the state diagram of a process. Okay, so this is a simple state diagram. Next we'll be discussing a little more complicated version. Okay, so the simple state diagram, if you are going to write your exam, this is enough. Okay, so the first state is new. So when a process is getting created, it will be in which state? It will be in the new state. Then from the new state, it will move to a state which is called a ready state, means it is ready to get processed. Okay, now from the ready state, the scheduler will be scheduling the process to the running state. Here the scheduling means the process is allocating this particular process which is in the there is the scheduler. The scheduling means the scheduler is going to take the process from the ready state to the running state. And when a process is getting scheduled, means this process is being given to the processor. So consider that there is a system. There will be a central processor, right, which will be processing all the task or process. And scheduler, what the scheduler is actually doing, the scheduler is going to take the various process which are present in the system and it is allocating to the central processor. Okay. And when the processor is processing this task or this process, it is called the running state. Okay, it means now it is getting executed. If you have a trouble in understanding all these things, just understand that it is in the running state or it is executing. Now, when the process is running or it is executing and an interrupt is coming, means it is going back to the ready state. And also in the running state, when it requests for any input output device and currently the device is not available, means it will be going to the waiting state. And when the IO device is free, means it will go back to the ready state, and from that it will go to the running state. And in the running state, if it has completed its execution, it will go to its state, the end state, or it can be called as terminated state. Okay. So these are the various states of a process. Okay. Next, little more detailed version of the process, various states in the process state diagram. This is actually the state diagrams. Okay. Again, there is a new state, from that it is going to the ready state. Then scheduler is taking the process and it is given to the running state. Again, if there is an IO request, it will go to the wait state. When IO or input output port is available, then it is moving to the ready state. Now, in the ready state also, it may get suspended, and after a particular delay, it will go back to the ready state again. Now here it is waiting for the input output device. Here also the ready suspend can happen. Okay. Now here from one suspend state also it can move to the another suspend state. Okay. Now after the running has completed, means after the execution has completed, it will go to which state? Termination state. So these are the various states in the process state diagram. Next, the next part or the next topic that we are going to discuss here is a thread. So thread is actually the smallest sequence of execution. So in computer science, a thread of execution is the smallest sequence of programmed instructions that can be managed independently by a scheduler, which is typically part of an operating system. Means the smallest part of execution which a scheduler can independently handle is called a thread. Now, if you examine a process, here you can see that a process is having more than one threads. Here, every process is having one thread, but here a process is having more than one thread. So, thread is actually an independent unit of execution. It is the smallest unit of execution, and various threads combine together and form a process. Okay, so that is actually the difference between a process and a thread. So in this video, we have discussed about what is a process, what are the various steps of creating a process, what are the various ways in which a process is getting terminated. Also, we have discussed about the process control block and the process state diagram. Also, we have discussed what is a thread. Okay, so this video was a quick revision of the topics process and threads. So I'm really hoping that you understood the topic. If yes, please do give it a thumbs up. Also share it with your friends. And if you want more videos, please do subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching and keep on watching.